Reaction here in Washington from the liberal perspective. Mark Glaze, he's a former executive director of Everytown for gun safety. He's very anti-NRA and pro-gun control. He says the NRA has a pro-slaughter agenda. And in Tallahassee, Florida, Richard Corcoran is the Speaker of the House in Florida. He's a Republican. Gentlemen, great to see both of you. Mark, take it away. You heard my angle. What part of it do you disagree?
So look, I don't think these kids have unique knowledge. I think part of the reason people taking them seriously is that in January, which means less than 2 months, there have been 18 school shootings and many more mass shootings. I think it's like Chinese water torture. At some point, things just reach a point where they break. And I think these kids, for reasons that are not clear to me, but I wish I could model it, decided that they were not going to duck and cover, but they were going to get out there and start agitating for change.
So because you're a victim and a survivor, you have a special policy expertise in the arena. And again, everyone has a right to speak out, fine. Yeah. But I'm just talking about the frequency with which they're put on cable television, the celebrity add-on with the obviously $500,000 checks. People can give money to whoever they want to. Right. But it's much cooler, no offense, Mark, you're cool, but it's much cooler, don't you think, to have kids out there talking about, gotta get me, I see you down the barrel of an AR-15 or whatever he said, than it is for you to say that. I mean, look, you look pretty cool, but those kids, I mean, that's a picture with 1,000 words.
Oh, look, if I'm flipping around on cable, I want to see those kids say that rather than me, because it's much more interesting. But look, you're right. These kids don't have unique insight into the policy arguments here, but we got other people like me to do that who know everything there is to know about.
All right, let's go to the Speaker of the House in Florida, Representative Corcoran. Your reaction to this, because I know you have pushed and pushed and pushed for a common sense approach to policing in these circumstances and to the schools and hardening the school targets as we see a boycott of the NRA, which we're going to get to in a moment. What's your reaction to what we're seeing so far?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Laura. I've met with probably close to 100 students. I've met with parents of the victims. I do think that they have something to add to the debate, and I think they've been very constructive. And one of the things that we're doing in Florida is we've instituted, as President Trump has suggested, the most robust, first-of-its-kind Marshal program, where we take sworn law enforcement officers. They have more training, more expertise, whether it's gun, active shooter, defense tactics, than our law enforcement officers. And we give them that training, and now they can be certified teachers and be in the schools. And if that happens,
but the kids don't want that. No. But the activists, again, the activists, I just think the proxies for the gun control movement, they don't want teachers armed. That's the last thing they want. They're, in fact, saying on interview after interview, don't you dare arm the teachers, because that's going to create another problem. Some crazy kid gets a hold of the teacher's gun, and then they're off to the races. So you want to arm teachers in schools. They say, you're doing the bidding of the NRA, just going to make them more money.
Well, I think they're changing the debate, and it's not arming teachers. It's having sworn law enforcement officers with all the expertise and training of any deputy or any police officer out on the street, and allowing them to teach in the classroom. And we've actually had students, we've actually had parents of the victims in our committee today testifying that having a Marshal program like we've outlined is common sense.
Mark, I want to play for you and both of you some students and their discussion of the National Rifle Association. Let's watch.
Sure.
The NRA is not going to do anything but help shootings happen and just promoting them.
Any politician on either side who is taking money from the NRA is responsible for events like this.
If they accept this blood money, they're against the children.
If you can't get elected without taking money from child murderers, why are you running?
This is to every lawmaker out there. No longer can you take money from the NRA. No longer can you fly under the radar doing whatever it is that you want to do, because we are coming after you.
Coming after you.
So look, I'll be nicer than Dana Loesch was on this topic. I don't think the NRA loves it when there's a mass shooting, but I think the agenda that they support directly facilitates.
They're mass murderers.
Directly facilitates mass shootings and the shootings that take place every day that don't get the headlines. It is their philosophy that there should be, anybody should be able to get any gun that they want, and as many of them.
That's totally untrue. That is completely untrue. The NRA does not believe convicted criminals should get guns. They do not believe that someone who has been committed to an insane asylum should get a gun. They do not believe that at all. And I'm not even a member of the NRA when I say that.
Right. That's the law as it currently exists.
Right.
But the bottom line is the vast majority of crimes that are committed with guns were committed by people who bought them legally, who passed a background check.
So in your heart of hearts, you prefer that all handguns be banned, right? Because handguns commit most of the murders in the country by far. I think 3/4 of all murders are committed by handguns.
Look, I'm one of those guys who thinks that the NRA is actually much smarter about this stuff than we are. They just make the case of what they want, no matter how outrageous, and they keep making it for decades, and then they win. I think we ought to reverse Heller. I think it should not be an individual right to own a gun in this house.
Okay, so you want to, Scalia's decision goes out the window.
Right.
Speaker Corcoran, right now we have a massive effort by celebrities and students to boycott the NRA. And one of the, Alyssa Milano, I know she's high on your list of authorities, she said, we're calling for a one-day boycott of Amazon, Apple TV, FedEx. Pass it on. Don't shop, don't stream, don't ship. Fred Smith of FedEx said, you know, we're not endorsing the NRA, but we're not playing this game, because where does it end? How about companies' views on climate change? Companies' views on, I mean, have you ever done a road race where, you know, Planned Parenthood ever had a sign? I mean, you politicize everything. Your reaction to the boycotts?
Well, I think it's silly, and I think it's vindictive, and it's pernicious, and it's polemic. It doesn't get to the solution. What we're trying to do is make sure that what happened never happens again. And to your other guests' comments, I'm an NRA member. I'm an A-rated legislator with the NRA. I have a concealed weapons permit. I have 6 children from 17 into 6, and your comments are offensive. What I tell my kids all the time, that there is no greater threat to their life, liberty, and freedom than big government. Big government has destroyed more lives, murdered more people, slaughtered more people in the history of mankind than any other entity. It has certainly not been guns. It's been big government,
Stalin,
and the pernicious, flawed leadership.
Do we have to go through the list?
So the reason you need an arsenal
we have it in
house
Bosnia. We have it in Bosnia. We've had it in Cambodia. We've had it in
Okay, well, I got your point, Mark.
So the reason you need an arsenal of assault weapons in your house is because Paul Ryan is going to come to your house, take away your guns, give you health care, and then strip you of all your other rights. That's the scenario that is stopping us from regulating guns?
Well, you know what? I tell you what, I live in a state of Florida, and in Florida we have a massive exile community from Cuba where that exact thing happened, so don't think that it can't happen anywhere else.
Well, and Governor Rick Scott is actually changing his mind on some of these issues.
Well,
Maybe you ought to think about it, too.
I think in the end...
I haven't seen that at all. I think Governor Scott's been a tremendous advocate for our constitutional rights.
Well, he wants to raise the age, right, of the AR? I mean, you're in favor of raising the age of the AR, Speaker, right? You are, too.
Yeah. As long as we can get rid of as President Trump said, as long as we can get rid of this insanity that we take our most precious resources, our children, and we put them in quote-unquote gun-free zones, that's just insanity.
Gun-free,
and we're going to end that with our Marshal program.
All right, guys, great segment. And by the way,